It was 2:13 a.m. when my phone rudely awakened me with a motion alert from the backyard groggy. I opened the app, anticipating another raccoon digging around my trash. Instead, the screen lit up with something a lot worse. Linda, the HOA president, parading through my gate, wearing a tacky zebra print swimsuit, holding a wine glass like a trophy. She led two friends, one carrying a huge, inflatable unicorn, which immediately caught on my garden hose, sending her spreading onto my roses. Linda, the so-called enforcer of local virtue, smirked at my security camera, winked and slurred, "Private pool my ass." Then with a dramatic flourish, she cannonballed into my pool, sending a tidal wave over my flower beds. This wasn't a drunk prank, it was the beginning of a war. A week prior, I'd seen trouble signs. A damp, strange towel thrown over my pool chair. Muddy footprints around the deck. I blamed neighborhood children sneaking through the fence. But irritating suspicion informed me otherwise. This pool was my pride, constructed with overtime paychecks made to order to fit my precise specs. The yard landscaped to perfection. It was private, mine untouchable, yet that towel yelled intrusion. And I knew who was arrogant enough to disregard boundaries. Linda. She'd been a nuisance since I'd moved in, knocking on my door with a clipboard and a phony smile. "Welcome, I'm Linda, HOA president. Your mailbox colors off code, day 2. After that, she'd spot me for a gaudy lawn decoration and placed a citation on my vehicle for a noticeable tire marks in my driveway. She had a ruler to check grass blades, making sure they never crossed regulation height. But my pool that triggered something in her. She'd hang around by my gate, checking drainage compliance, grumbling about community assets. Once caught me saying, "This is to be shared." It wasn't subtle. To Linda, nice things belonged to the hoe, meaning her. I tried to be civil. I reinforced the gates installed, cameras trimmed hedges to obstruct her peeping eyes. None of it deterred her. That night, spying on her splashing like a frat kid, her friends playing music and squealing, I reached my breaking point. Linda climbed the diving board, wrapped a sparkly towel like a cape, and screamed, "Ha, royalty rules!" Before belly flopping, wetting my patio, I taped each second, each splash, each trespass, each slur taunt. Sleep was out of the question. I spent the night backing up footage, emailing clips to myself, gearing up for war. At dawn, I marched to Linda's residence with a flash drive. She answered in a plush robe, cucumber slices over her eyes, looking like a spa reject. I gave her the drive and said, "Watch this before your HOA meeting today." She closed the door in silence. I hoped shame would finally get the better of her. I was very wrong. 3 hours later, a notice dated appeared on my mailbox. An HOA complaint of negligent gate security and neglecting to provide aquatic accessibility. Linda had gotten her break-in on me and was even charging me a $275 fee for a pool safety assessment allegedly done by her friends. The audacity was appalling. That afternoon, she summoned an uninvited HOA meeting. I wasn't welcome, but I knew her playbook. She'd paint me a paranoid troublemaker, my camera's proof of instability. A sympathetic board member, Sarah, tipped me off. Linda was pushing to declare my pool a shared recreational space under an obscure 1990s HOA clause about collective wellness. She claimed my pool was a community asset, hers to command. I stared at my pull-me sweat. My sanctuary and knew civility wouldn't cut it. Linda lived for mangling truth. I required something, cutting something she'd choke on. That's when the thought came to me. A prank, petty but within the law. Poetic but savage. A friend with special effects had once spoken of slick wave, a stunt gel that made water slicker than ice. Safe, biodegradable, and untraceable. Standing beside my pool, I smiled. If Linda wanted to be invaded, her next swim would be historical. The next morning, another envelope landed filled with flyers headlined, "Is your neighborhood safe?" They threatened hazardous chemicals in private pools, showing a cropped still from my video making my yard resemble a tacky spa. Linda went nuclear, spreading rumors to the neighborhood. A neighbor held the flyer, scowling, swayed by her slander. I considered posting the entire video online, but restrained. Linda lapped up drama, spinning backlash into victimhood. Instead, I saw her magnify. She strutted down my yard with her minions Nancy and Greg, who took notes and measured my mulch like health inspectors, making things safe. Linda sneered when I confronted them, winking as Nancy laughed. Days later, I found that she'd copied my gate key on her first break-in. While I was away at the shop, she'd come back with visitors leaving footprints filled with water, empty wine cartons, and a half-devoured charcuterie board bobbing on a unicorn raft. My speaker was flooded. Solar lights dimmed. Towels filled my hedges. The cameras recorded Linda's thumbs up as she departed, laughing, "Thanks for the invitation." I called the police, but they waved with no trespassing signs. It was a civil issue. Enraged, I drained and cleaned the pool, discovering a container of Glow Spa essence hidden beneath the skimmer, smelling of rotten lavender. My chemistry advisor friend cautioned it might clog filters or harbor bacteria. Linda was not trespassing, she was destroying. Another HOA infraction visited, citing post-party filth with pictures of her mess, along with a $300 fee. At the HOA office, the secretary confessed it was Linda's confidential complaint. Digging into the HOA charter, I discovered her use a loose clause regarding community facilities for group welfare applicable with owner permission and insurance, neither of which I'd provided. My lawyer buddy David smirked. She's liable for improper access and tampering. He wrote a cease and desist letter outlining her trespass video and chemical hazards. But I desired something more than threats of legal action. I desired Linda to taste her own conceit. At the pool shop, I eavesdropped clerks talking slick wave for party stunts. I purchased plenty enough to transform my pool into a skating rink, laughing as the cashier bantered, scheming a splash. That evening, I set up the trap. Cameras positioned gates slightly ajar. Slick wave blended in. Linda's next plunge would be her demise. Her silence in the coming days was unsettling. No flyers, no patrols, just a stalker teasing her time. On the fourth night, my cameras recorded her. Linda slipped in after sunset. Nancy and a new partner, Tara, following with a wine talk tote. Linda in a sequined gown, monogrammed LQ, used her pilfered key, calling, "Welcome to Club Linda." I watched live, lights out. Car parked blocks away to simulate my absence. Travel bags by the door sealed the bait. Linda's crew set up like it was a resort. Towels on my patio, snacks on my table, music blaring. Linda shed her robe, showing that zebra swimsuit, and mounted the diving board. "Showtime, ladies," she bellowed. Diving head first, the splash was ideal, then pandemonium. She attempted to stand, but Slickwave made the pool a slide. She thrashed, grasped the edge, missed, and splashed back in. Nancy slipped, attempting to assist, crashing into a float that propelled her into the deep end. Tara clung to ladder, flubbed, and belly-flopped, screaming. Linda hugged the unicorn raft. It burst forth, tossing her about. The Bluetooth speaker dropped in, flared up, and died. Screams rent the air as they piled out, slipping on the wet patio chair, toppling Linda. Mascara streaming resembled a drowned cat. "This place is cursed," she shouted, almost falling again as they ran. I laughed until I wept, rewatching the tape. Every shot a masterpiece by dawn. The neighborhood bust. A visitor had posted a clip online. HOA Queen's slippery karma. It spreads like fire. Linda rushed to my driveway, seething. "You could have killed someone." I emerged cool. "It's legal, safe, biodegradable, and dissipated trespass again, and my cameras record it." She stared, seeing my new porch camera, and fled muzzled. The clip went viral, memed with such captions as, "When you forget property loss." At an emergency HOA gathering in Linda's yard, her defense crumbled. A resident watched the video mid-spech. Her sequined robe, undeniable. She yelled it was doctored, but the crowd laughed her out. Sarah gave me Linda's new complaint, charging Baxbyar billing me for her robe, and Speaker David added it to our case, trespass, defamation, fraud. A neighbor unveiled Linda's plan to market the neighborhood for luxury rentals. Using my pool as a communal selling point, I leaked her developer emails to the HOA office, causing chaos. 2 board members resigned. A third demanded Linda's suspension. Linda sued me for injury and defamation, saying I booby-trapped the pool. The judge who watched the footage and Slickwave's safety manuals dismissed it, writing, "Plaintiff orchestrated her own humiliation." Sarah taped the verdict to the HOA board. Linda's last resort was applying for a pool coordinator position somewhere else. Using edited photos of my pool as her project, David's candidate with the slip clip got her rejected. The firm's HR gratefully thanking us for the laugh. The HOA chose Sarah, who enforced pool mandates. Linda faded her house quiet, her reign a memory, at a planned pool party with a sign that said, "Invite only." Linda excluded, we celebrated freedom. I caught her peering from her window, a shadow of her former self. Her downfall became legend. The video remixed with epic soundtracks. A news feature about HOA horrors included her slip months later. A friend forwarded an ad, Linda applying as recreation specialist. Somewhere else I didn't give them a heads up.